Hey everyone, and welcome. I'm Lisa Murray, and I have with me Alex and Melanie and Crystal, and we are playing with the topic of nurturing today. Because what I've noticed is so many people don't really know what nurturing is. They think if they go get a facial or, they sleep in, that's nurturing. And that's the beginning of it for sure, but it's not necessarily all that it can be. And today I thought we might have this really fun conversation about what nurturing can really bring to your life, to your business, to your entire world. Because when you embrace that as a way of living, you create everything that you're doing in your life with a totally different sense of possibilities. So welcome everyone, and thank you for being on with me today. And I wonder, do you guys have any, or girls, ladies, do you have any questions about maybe where we could start? Is there something someone would like to know, like that we could start with?
Lisa, you know how the first month is nurture your vision. I was wondering, because this is like it's a 12-month project program, is this about, have we got to know like what our end game is, like what our end goal is, or
Yeah. So this is a really fun thing because Alex has already let the cat out of the bag and said we have a 12-month program, which we do, called the Nurture Project, which we'll talk about, a bit later on in the
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all cool. And what I would say about that, Alex, is that the thing about nurturing your vision is a lot of people think, yes, you have to know the end goal, you have to know where you're going. And then they get really worried that they don't know where they're going and they're looking for their purpose and their passion. And it's all very difficult. Have you noticed? And I don't function like that. I look at, okay, so what vision do I have a sense of right now? And once I start to nurture it, and by nurture it, I mean to invite it into being, to encourage it into being, to entice it, to play with it, to almost like massage it, If I do those things with whatever that vision is at the time, it continues to grow and expand, and it shows me the different possibilities that actually create the greater, bigger vision. Because so much of the time we're trying to get the right answer before we start, and that's what actually doesn't work for people. So no, you don't have to know where you're going. You've just got to be willing to go there anyway and to start.
So, okay, but Lisa, you said massaging your vision. I'm wondering, I can hear some people going, "What is she talking about?" Massaging. What does that mean?
Well, when you massage something, you take, in some ways, a part of the body or a part of it, and you work on that and you get it flowing with a real sense of ease and peace. And then you might move to another part of the body and you might do a similar thing, but in a totally different way. And so that's the massaging. It's always tweaking, it's always changing, it's always moving towards that sense of the ease and the peace and the joy that actually allows you to enjoy the process of creation. Because so many of us get a goal or a target, and then we go hell for leather towards it. We don't enjoy the actual adventure and the journey of it. And then we're wondering why we're so miserable. And it's like, well, there's a different way to do it. It's a different way to be with all your ideas,
Great answer. Thanks.
Well, I think that's the one thing that's really stood out to me about you, Lisa, and why I'm so excited to be a part of whatever you create, honestly, is that you do a lot and you get a lot done. You create a lot, but there is so much ease and joy in your world as you do it. And that really drew me because at the time I was coming out of a really 40-year period of creating with a lot of force. And I'm noticing more and more as I'm choosing this space that we're talking about, or this way of creation that we're talking about, that my body is literally exhaling. And there is so much more ease with whatever it is I choose to create or, look at functioning this way. So, I don't know if I actually have a question. There's so many things that you look at over, like I'm looking at the 12 months and so like nurturing your brilliance. one of the things that is so brilliant about that is that it does gift you actually quality of life, which I didn't have before I began creating like this. You know, I got a lot done and I got a lot accomplished, but I didn't have this quality of life. So can you talk a little bit more about nurturing your brilliance and what that is for you as well?
Yeah, I can. And I'd like to actually include in it what you said about the ease and the joy. Because, you know, I do create with a huge amount of ease and a huge amount of joy. And then there are these moments where I get really cranky and I'm just not happy at all. And we all have that, okay? And probably one of the big differences between me and most people is I know it's not real. I know that if I go to that space, somewhere I'm not being me. I'm not being the brilliance of me. I'm not asking the questions that would create the fun and the joy and the ease and the possibilities. And so what occurs is that if you are having a time when you're trying to force something into existence, you've got to ask yourself, well, am I forcing it into existence because I think I should do it? Am I doing it for the fun of it, or am I doing it for the money? And you've got to start asking all these kinds of questions, because when you allow your true brilliance to shine, and you know, everyone has brilliance. That's the other thing to say here, because a lot of people go, oh, but I'm not brilliant. I can't do that. And it's like, well, actually, that's not true, because, you know, every single person on this planet has a brilliance, has something that they can contribute to the world, and something that only they can contribute to the world. And if you choose to play with that and explore it, then that ease and that joy is there. And so when I say the only time that's not there is when I'm not being me, it's literally when I'm not allowing those unique energies and that unique space that I have to come through in my ways. You know, a lot of people try to create their business in the ways that everyone else creates business, like the ways it's been done for, you know, the last 100 or 200 years. And truly, in the energy and the space we're in on the planet right now, that can't continue to work like that. Because a lot of how business has been done really negates who we are as people. It doesn't actually allow for a nurturing space. You know, I came to work for myself because I had burnout so severely I couldn't stay out of bed. Like, it was 3 hours and I was done for the day, you know. And so I had to learn what it was that was nurturing for me and what it was in business that was nurturing for me, because I knew that I loved business. But I went through this phase where it was like, I never want to have staff again. And like, I had 10,000 I never wanters. And actually all that was doing was cutting off the possibilities. And when I've started to actually look at, well, what if I had staff who were better at things than what I am? What if, you know, I had an empire that didn't require 10,000 people to run it? And like, if you start asking for like these really, what feel like impossible requests in some ways, you know, all of a sudden the brilliance that you are begins to shine, and you actually get to play in the realms where you truly are brilliant and let other people do the other stuff. You know, I was a control freak of magnitude. I wouldn't let anyone do anything. It was like, no, I can do it better. And I can tell you, it's one very fast way to get to burnout. And now I'm just like, oh, who can do this? You know, I've pretty much gone the other direction. So
Yeah, I'm same thing. I'm really grateful for that.
yeah. And like, people think, you know, we're taught that we have to be good at a lot of things. And what if you just have, I mean, a lot of us are good at a lot of things too, but what if you find the 3 or 5 things that you love being and doing and put your energy and your attention to those? Can you imagine a world where everybody did that? Would we live in a different world? You know, and this is part of what I see as the bigger mission, I think, for the Nurture Project. It's really to bring people to that space where they can actually start to acknowledge and recognize what they are brilliant at, what is great about them, and how they can bring that into the world that makes their life joyful and peaceful and, you know, fun and plentiful. Like, you know, to have the, you know, plenty of money and plenty of choice and a whole lot of other things that go with that.
Yeah. You know, Lisa, you know, one of the things that I've got out of doing the 30-day World Challenges programs with you, like in the last 12 months, is it's being in this group of people, because eventually it will be a closed group. And there is so much support and kindness. And then it's funny how sometimes we can't see the brilliance that we are, but it's so easy I know for me, I can see the brilliance in the people and the things that they're saying in their posts, and that's the great thing about the group is you not only do you see people point things out, ask you questions, but not only do you see the greatness in you, but in seeing the greatness in others, you sort of go, hang on, I have that too. Like, I can also do that. And I think for me, I know that I felt like I've been kind of boxed into a place of like, okay, because I worked for many years as a singer. So like I'm a singer and like it's sort of like I'm not meant to be anything else but that. And it never felt true to me.
Yeah.
And that's been the miracle for me in being with the group is like, wow, because, like what you said about business and how you love business and you're great at business, and you've asked me questions about business and I'm like, I don't think that's me. And you've asked me so many questions and I've realized, well, hang on a minute, maybe I know more about business than I'm, than I've been led to believe. So
and that there, what you just said about the decisions we make about ourselves that aren't true, and often they're like decisions from other people's points of view. I went through a stage in corporate where I would take jobs to get better at my weaknesses because that's what someone had said I should do. When I looked at it, oh my God, it nearly killed me. It was insane. It was horrible, And this
like deep.
It was truly awful. And when I look back, I'm like, how insane must I have been to even buy that point of view? And, one of the things about the Nurture Project that I love is seeing that unraveling of the insanities of the things that we brought as true and real that aren't true and real. That when we actually start to play with them and start to create some momentum in any direction, and it doesn't matter which direction a lot of time, like people are so obsessed with getting the right direction. And one thing I find is that, like for me, I gave that up a long time ago because I realized when I say I didn't know, I knew the energy of where I was going, but I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like. And every year it gets clearer and clearer. And every year I have more and more fun. And it's this thing of getting clearer about, well, what are those things, those lies that I've bought? And let's get rid of them, So I'm really grateful for you bringing that up, Alex, because a lot of people like look at something like the Nurture Project and they go, oh, it sounds too much. It sounds like I couldn't be that good. And yet the beauty and the brilliance of the group is that you get to see the magic of you. You get to actually enjoy the greatness that you are. There is such a generosity of spirit in the group. That's one of the things that probably keeps me running it, actually, is just the beauty of people and the generosity of spirit that they are and the kindness that people are to each other. And, this year I hope to move it more into a more collaborative space as well, where people can start to actually bring those gifts and contribute them in different ways. So we're going to have lots of different adventures than what we've had in the 30-day program. It's going to take a big sort of quantum leap in terms of how we play with it and what we do. And I can't wait to play.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about nurture your vision, because you asked a question about your 1,000-year future. And I've done a bit of Nurture Club and I get it. And I was a little bit gobsmacked when I was asked that question, because I was trying to come up with words to at least pin something down. Thing where I just wanted to ask you about, playing with like not having the answer.
Yeah.
And like I found it funny with vision, because vision, a lot of us put it with seeing our targets or results, and all of a sudden I was there looking at a question going, And that's what I find. Like, I've done this a few times, and I thought, no, this will be okay. And then all of a sudden, I was just like, oh no, I've got nothing to go with.
So was the energy of the vision way bigger than what you can cognitively grasp right now? Yeah. And this is what happens when, and one of the things that's very fun about the Nurture Project is the questions that we get to ask, because so much of the time I'm looking for those really big questions that will totally take your possibilities and your reality into a much bigger space. And so when I asked the question about the 1,000-year future, and if you're interested, if you're watching this and you're interested in knowing more about it, if you go to www.creativitylab.tv/nurture with the number 12 after it, you can sign up to a little free e-course that will tell you about the 1,000-year future and give you the exercise to play with. So, and it's really interesting because like I have used that question a lot to actually create my vision each year. And even this morning I was looking at, okay, so what is it I would really love to create in 2016? What is my vision for 2016? And I go to that energy of the 1,000-year future. And not that I would say I work it backwards, because you can't work something backwards from there. But it's like, I was like, okay, so there are some different energies here that I've not even really played with before. And do I have names for them? Not yet, but I get that in the next few weeks, it will start to become very visible to me. And this is the thing I think a lot of people try and do is they sit down, they get out their pen and paper and they're going to work it out right now. And I don't work like that. And this is the nurturing, right? Literally I go, so there's a new energy or a new set of energies here that I can play with. What are the possibilities with those? And what's it going to take for them to actually show me more of how they'd like to show up in the world and in what I'm creating? And so when I ask that question, I know, like I trust, I've done this enough times now to trust the information will come. So literally it's this thing of if you trust that the information will come and you trust yourself to recognize it when it comes, then you begin that process. And the other part of doing it this way, and this is what we're going to play with a lot in January, is this energy of nurturing your vision, is that you don't create from the past. Because so many people are creating from the past. And I was looking at this morning going, so all of the things that I thought my vision was that I've been working on these last few years, yes, they're a contribution. And what's actually beyond that? Like if I wasn't creating from that, what is beyond that? And so, like, your vision can be this ever-evolving adventure rather than a defined set of things that it's like, that's what I'm going to create in the world. Because what if, as you go along the adventure, you see something even better? Do you want to, like, leave it sitting by the side of the road, or do you want to go, hey, I'll have that too?
Yeah, I think sometimes we just think that there's a bit of an end result to it, or we should know at least an answer, or there's kind of something shows up, we realize you've got it. But actually what happens is things keep changing, and I'm still getting my head around the fact that it keeps going forward. I just think it just blows my mind anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's the really cool thing, actually, what you've just said about it keeps going forward. Because my point of view about a vision is, as long as it's moving forward, as long as you have momentum, as long as there's some kind of clarity and movement, then it's worth keeping on, and it's only when everything gets stopped that you need to go, okay, so do I need to create a totally different thing here? What's going on with this? And so everywhere, because we make ourselves wrong a lot of the time for not having the answer and not being at the end. But there is no end. Like if we go to the space of, I've got it and I know what it is, then you've pretty much created it as a box that you have to fit into. And then you're going to find yourself saying no to things that could create something even greater. And this is the whole nurturing process, really, that we're talking about, okay? It's this thing where you keep playing and playing and playing with it. And as you move through it and as you get that momentum going, things change. And you've got to be willing to change, like in every moment almost, because that's actually when the magic can occur.
Yeah, Lisa, I don't know what it is with, like with life, just general life. It is just a constant when it's got to do with choosing a vocation or, like what we're going to do with our life. For some reason, we sort of feel like it has to be a thing. It has to be one thing. So it's funny how we've bought into so many misconstrued ideas from society and how we've grown up. It's interesting. That's what's so great about the Nurture program is this, that we are, for me, I've been willing to explore other arenas. Like, you've made me realize that, hey, I could actually write. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I can write? Really?
Yeah, and
I wouldn't have even known that was a possibility like 12 months ago.
I know, and that's what's
Sorry?
really amazing is that we get to this space where I can see a possibility in your world. I can see that brilliance in you, and so can other people. And when someone actually invites you to that space and says, hey, why don't you play with this? Then actually what occurs is you have the courage to take that step and to start to do something with it. And you never know where these things are going to lead. And that's the fun thing about having the topic for January is nurturing your vision, because like here we are saying nurturing your vision as if it's a thing. And yet really it could be called nurturing your vision, the adventure, you know, because it's going to be much more of an adventure than it is an answer. And, you know, one of the things about the whole process of nurturing is you're not looking for answers. You're literally looking for a space where everything you create can be continually expanding and be continually creating something greater in the world. And that's for me the real joy of it, is seeing all those different things show up with different people and seeing people do things they didn't think they could do and create, you know, amazing things that they didn't think they could create.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about just we're talking. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. There's so I just hearing you speak, there's this ongoing expansion, and what keeps coming into my head is that the universe is an ever expanding thing, you know, in and of itself. Science has proven that it's ever expanding, and somewhere we bought that it's like we choose one thing and we stop there. It's this choppy force thing that doesn't continually expand. Like when you ask, like, what's beyond any vision I've had, what's beyond that? I'm like, I never would have even thought to ask that. But of course, like, what is beyond that? What else is possible now with everything that we're aware of, because we're constantly changing and growing and choosing and all of that. So yeah, I'm just so grateful for this. And I'm actually so grateful that it's over a year, because what I'm becoming aware of as we're talking is like how much habit I have still in place with, you know, cutting things short, with concluding that they're a certain way, or, you know, there's nothing beyond that, or, you know, even so it's this ongoing adventure. I love that.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, this is the thing about one of the monthly topics we're going to play with is generating momentum. And I really wanted to include this one in there because I think so much of the time it's so easy to stop, basically. You know, it's so easy to stop ourselves or to go, oh, that's the end of that. And really, when we go to the true energy of momentum, it's this really magical space where you can just keep expanding and expanding. And it's like, you know, as you said, the universe is infinite. And if you apply that energy to whatever it is you're creating, if it was infinite, you know, how different could it be? And I love, you know, playing with people to get things finished, for example, because, and it's funny that we're talking about momentum and the end and finishing all in, you know, 10 seconds, because it's like people think there's this energy that I see a lot with people. It's like, oh, if they finish something, then that's the end. Whereas I think if I finish something, that's the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? It's literally the first, it's like the beginning of it being out in the world and being created as something even greater. And so one of the things we're going to play with a lot probably in this 12 months is this thing of just turning all the crazy things we think upside down and inside out to see what's actually possible when we don't create from the same spaces that most people do. And, you know, there will be uncomfortable moments. There will be funny moments. There will be moments where you're going, oh my gosh, I just never saw it that way. And the benefit and the beauty of having the 12 months is that you grow into it. You know, it's not like you have to have it all going on day one. That's not how we play. And that growing into it, like I grow into it as well. So every month there'll be some core parts of the program, and then there'll be random extra things that are just what it feels like that are going to make that topic work that month. So we have awesome topics, and I would love to invite people to come and play. You can join us for 1 month in January, or you can join us for the entire 12 months. And if you're just joining for January, it's just, you know, you come and check it out, see if it's an adventure you'd like to have in the future. And if you're joining us for the 12 months, wow. What I do know, because I've seen in the last sort of 2 years, this is the third year this program will run, and it's quite different this year in terms of the actual way we're going to run it. And what I've seen is that the people who came for 1 month and went away, got something for sure, got a lot of things in some cases. And yet the people who've come and done every one of the 30-day projects, amazing what has shown up out of that, you know. And so I'm really excited to be putting it over 12 months and to be making it a little less intense, because the 30-day projects were really full on for people. And so we're going to just like spread that intensity out a little bit, make it just a little more playful. And, you know, it really will be, I think, a year of creating your ideas and creating your business if you have one, or creating your life, whatever it is you'd like to create, from this energy of nurture, from this energy of fun, and from an energy of magic as well. Because, you know, so much of what you do when you nurture things is about allowing the magic to show up and allowing the possibilities to show up and not trying to force it all into existence. So does anyone have anything you'd like to add or to ask before we finish up today?
Where do they sign up, Lisa? If people haven't signed up already, where do they sign up?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. www.creativitylab.tv/nurture. Very easy.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And we start on the 1st of January. So you can sign up anytime before then. And yeah, and if you've got any questions, you can happily talk to any of us, okay? Because we all have different experiences in terms of what this is and how it's going to work. And yeah, contact one of us and ask questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming on with me today. And I hope that over the next few weeks, you take the space to actually nurture you and allow things to come towards you, rather than always trying to force things and to try and be and do everything that everyone's expecting of you. Because, you know, it's that time of year when there's a lot of in the air. And what if you could actually go through it really peacefully and with a lot of ease and a lot of joy, and just have fun with it, play. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for coming to play. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.